Hello, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we interview Pam Westra, the owner and designer at Tiny Digs Resort in Muskegon, Michigan. The video's a little bit long, so if you gotta cut away in the middle of it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can easily find us when you want to come back and watch the rest. And of course, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to be notified of my other videos, hit the notification bell. Let's get going. Welcome everybody, I'm Kevin, Tiny Life Consulting, and I'm here with Pam Westra in Muskegon, Michigan. And we're celebrating the 100-year Coast Guard Days with a tiny house tour. So, you have 7 tiny houses.
Yeah.
And your husband and your son built every one of them.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we designed them all. We've had a lot of years of experience, probably 12 years or so ago at least. My husband started doing some delving into tiny house building. Mainly at that time was for my son. He was moving around and he needed a glass shop. He was a glass blower at that time. And so they built several that way. But then when the tiny house movement started to take off back in the early 2014, 13, we started thinking, oh, you know, how can we get in this as a business? And 2015, we moved to Portland, Oregon, because that's the mecca of where the tiny house movement started. And there was already one tiny house hotel there, and we became Tiny House Hotel number 2 in Portland, because that one was
Tiny Digs.
Tiny Digs Hotel.
And it started with a used car lot?
Yeah, it was a used car lot there. So it's all in the city. It was perfect because the city required us to have something that was totally fenced and totally paved. We don't know why the pavement deal, but I can appreciate the security and the privacy that the fence allows us to have there. But so in the beginning, it was like till we got all our vegetation growing around the place. Now we've been there 8 years, open 8 years. We moved to Portland in 15, took a year to build 6 tiny houses, to open with 6. Now we have 12 there. And here at Tiny Digs Lakeshore, on the shores of near Lake Michigan, we have Tiny Digs Lakeshore, which has 7 houses so far. But we'll be expanding. We own the house next door, the whole lot and stuff. There's a duplex, 100-year-old home there. We're going to change that up, and it will have one side, the smaller side of the house, will be an ADA compliant unit for handicapped folks, and the other side lends itself really as not only just a short-term rental to complement the Airbnb and tiny house lodging that we have here.
Did you have some rules to get by?
They were here in Muskegon. They really wanted us to come here. The problem was finding land and neighbors that were not being NIMBYs. And so we got through all those hurdles, got through all the zoning and planning, got through all city council and all that stuff. And it took us a few months to do that. In Portland, because there was already one tiny house hotel there, they spent 8 months getting theirs approved. It only took us 3 months there.
Wow.
Because there was one there already. So the wheels have been greased, so to speak.
Well, and they could see what you did there know that you were the real deal.
Yeah, they kept looking at our Portland development when we wanted to do one here and said, wow, this looks really nice. And
did that swing over some of your neighbors?
Yeah, and the neighbors, once we started putting the cute fence up and put sod in, and they saw how cute the houses were. Some of them, we've had 4 open houses this year since we've been open, and a lot of the neighbors come. We had probably 1,000 people at our first open house here, and the neighbors come now and they go, you know, I was one of those people on Facebook, not so nice, but now I see what a beautiful job you've done, and welcome. And
you have done a beautiful job. This is very cute. Really nice.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, can we take a look at some of the houses a little closer?
We will.
Which one would you like us to start with?
We'll start right here with the Heritage House.
All right.
Today, there's has a lot of history here, and so some of the decor came from different places around the city. Like this old chandelier here up top is from Habitat for Humanity. They're restore stores, and that was rescued from one of the old Victorian houses here.
How sweet! So, and
yeah.
This kitchen looks like it's not even a kitchen.
Right, right.
I was surprised. I was looking, where is the kitchen?
The kitchen. It's an old Hoosier cabinet that needed a new top on it, so we put a
butcher block
top on it and made it into our little kitchen.
And we've got one burner stove.
Yeah.
And look at that beautiful vessel.
Yeah.
You make that out of a salad bowl?
Yes, sir. Wow. You got it. Yep. We try to make some unique ones. You'll see in some of the other houses some of the unique sinks that we have. And then each house has a little mini fridge in it.
That is a mini fridge.
Yep.
Wow. I didn't know they came that small.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Risk of explosion. Better stay out of there. And then a really nice bathroom.
Yeah. All the bathrooms here at Tiny Digs Lakeshore have a shower and a sink and a flush toilet.
And look at the ceiling.
Yeah. Little fake
like from a train car.
Yeah. Or the old Victorian houses had this tin ceiling, and a lot of stores did too. So
because they didn't have sheetrock back then.
Right, right. So
how beautiful.
Thank you.
And a residential toilet.
Residential toilet.
So they made you put in all the plumbing.
Right. We put all the tiny houses are hooked up, as you know, just like an RV hookup. We have a 50 amp plug-in on each one of them, and a garden hose that goes to the side of the house, just like an RV. And then the bottoms are all skirted on these, so the wheels don't show, but they all are on wheels still. And the bottom skirting protects some of the plumbing in the wintertime, because we are in Michigan, and so it gets pretty cold here.
And heat tape.
And heat tape, yes. We put heat tapes on everything. And so the 3-inch sewer line goes right down into the ground to under all these. It's like a whole big spider web of electric pipes and conduit pipes and plumbing for the water and plumbing for the sewer.
What do you think?
Real twin bed mattress on this one. And then all the houses in the lofts have a queen bed. And so some of them have couches that fold down so that one person can sleep on them. Our log cabin, which will go in there perhaps later, that has a fold-down couch that's a queen fold-down couch, and it's a futon. So four people can stay in that one.
Well, I want to take a peek.
Okay,
upstairs.
Go on up. Yeah. And you flip those lights on there on the side of the wall, Kevin.
Oh, this is nice. You can stand here next to it.
This was a little different design than we've ever done before. We want to try this out because the drawback for a lot of people is I can't get up into the lofts.
Right. Working on your knees at my age can be a real hindrance.
Right. So this is my one that I recommend. If I hear in someone's voice that they're a little bit elderly, I recommend this house to them.
What do you do with the humidity issues and moisture?
Really, we haven't had any problems with that. In Portland, it rains 7 months of the year, and we really haven't had any humidity or moisture problems out there at all. Yeah. We don't have dehumidifiers in them at all, and we just haven't had any issues. And we're open year-round there, too.
Any heat?
I know a lot of people have humidity problems in their houses. We have all mini splits that are electric heating and air. And
that does the heat too?
Yeah. And so a lot of houses, tiny houses though, have propane or gas for their furnace and their stoves, and that does create more humidity in the house.
I'm not a
chemist or anything, so but I have read over the years that will create more.
I know that a propane burner
yes.
creates the moisture.
Yes, because I lived in an RV while we were in Portland a lot, but I had lived in it 7 years before that, traveling around the U.S., and we never needed a dehumidifier. But when we got to Portland, the RV needed to have a dehumidifier in it, and probably dumped out a gallon of water a day.
Wow.
But in the tiny houses, it wasn't necessary. We never had the buildup on the windows and stuff like we did in the RV. And I think that was just because of the gas and stuff that we were using.
That air feels good.
Yeah.
It's so quiet. We're
Yes.
standing right next to it, and you can hardly hear it.
And these are really energy efficient.
Halcyon.
Yeah.
Is that how they pronounce that?
These
Halcyon.
Yeah.
Halcyon.
Well, they're Fujitsu units, which are the top of the line units. These have a SEER rating of 33.
That's pretty good.
The higher the number, as you know, the better energy efficient they are. And these, if we were running them full blast on air and in a much bigger unit even than this year round, it was only supposed to be $150 a year to run them. So
that's crazy good.
Yeah, and they can heat and cool something twice the size of these. So
perfect.
Yeah. So
I mean, you need to have more air than you need.
Yeah.
And also more heat.
Yes.
Yeah. So thermal pane windows.
Yep.
They look like nice windows.
Yep. We have the with the argon gas and stuff in between, so they're very energy efficient too. And being a tiny house, they're tiny windows.
Let me take a look at your utility attachment.
Yeah,
that's always interesting.
We have a garden hose or two hooked up on these because we don't have underground sprinkling yet. But this is the white RV hose, just like an RV
Looks
hookup.
like we have some visitors.
Yeah, we're by
they pay rent too?
I wish. The lake is right across the street, so we get all that nice spider nesting in the summertime.
And this
here.
is the 50
and
amp
that's the
cord.
50 amp. Each house has a 50 amp cord.
Okay.
And then the sewers are right below the bathroom. All of them come together. The drains in the house from the kitchenettes, and the shower and the toilet and the sink.
And then
and they go right down
end
into
of
the ground.
The mini split.
Yep, and this is the compressor end of the mini split. And
again, you
so
can. I didn't even know it was running.
Yep, it's running.
Unbelievable.
And they're so.
Because we try to recommend people to not put these by their bedrooms.
Right.
But this is. You didn't even hear it running.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it perfect because then you can put the bathroom under the bedroom.
Yep. So
you really need a good mini split.
Yes.
And I'm surprised they produce enough heat to keep it warm enough. Yeah,
they do. The reason these cost what they did, I think they're about $4,500 a piece now, 3 years later, because that was one of my first purchases that I made even before we started building, because I wanted these very specifically because they are very high efficient, and these are good. Some mini splits you have to be careful. They are not good if the temperatures go below 0, and they won't heat the house. They'll kind of start shutting down. And so these are good, I think, to like 15 or 18 degrees below 0. And so they're more than efficient enough. And that's what brought the price up. I mean, I could have bought some less expensive ones, but they didn't have the features. And these, I haven't delved into that because I'm not really techie.
So the ones that are just under $1,000, you really aren't going to get what you need.
Exactly. And after our first year in Portland, we had, I won't mention the name of the company, but we had some heating and air conditioning units out there that they were just a box that sat outside the house, and then they had the two arms that came into the wall, one for input, one for outtake. And some of them didn't even last the year. And at the end of our first year, we said, okay, let's evaluate this year, what was good about it this year, what was maybe not so good about it, and look at what were our biggest pitfalls. The biggest pitfalls for us were the heating and air conditioning units. So we said no more. We started our subsequent ones, we put mini splits in.
Your money
exactly.
In the air conditioner.
Yes.
And the other utilities.
And the Trex decking, same thing.
Right.
After a couple years and repeated staining of the decks, we said, and so subsequent houses we did do with Trex decking, so that we wouldn't have to do the staining and painting every year.
Did you use a professionally made trailer?
Yes. Glad you asked that, because I love to give them a plug. Iron Eagle is made right just outside of Portland in Fairview, Oregon, and it's it's the next city over from the border of Portland, and they are just fantastic. They started their trailer company years ago. They make like the lawn trailers that you take to different
Right, and
jobs, and
utility
trailers, hauling trailers, that kind of thing. They take those, and at the beginning of the tiny house movement, they were converting those into tiny house trailers. Well, that was kind of a pain. So some of the big wigs in the tiny house movement, Dee Williams was one of them. I'm sure you've heard of her.
She's one of the
the
pioneers.
Queen, the queen bee. And I'm blanking on Jay Schaefer. He's the other. They came together after some time and gave Iron Eagle some kind of ideas and suggestions. And now Iron Eagle Trailers has a whole division of tiny house trailers there, and they're just sweet. We can insulate and put a deck on these in like 45 minutes now.
Oh my goodness!
The first one I think took us 3/4 of a day, but each time we got faster and faster, and like in 45 minutes you can have the insulation down in the bottom. Of course, your plumbing's already down there,
with the metal,
and that's an option, and we totally suggest getting that option on your trailer if you buy one from them, or any trailer manufacturer for that matter.
Won't rot.
That keeps the rodents out.
Oh, like you mean those friendly little squirrels we have here?
Yeah. And then it also keeps the moisture from coming up from the ground, and we have moisture barriers in the floors and stuff. And you were asking about moisture earlier. Our showers all have moisture barriers around them. Yeah, yep. So you do those kind of preliminary steps, and you eliminate any issues with that. So we did our homework on that, and I'm sure you've got a lot of videos and blog posts on that kind of stuff.
It's important, and some people just don't believe us.
Right. Until they get a mold problem.
Yeah, they build the house and they're living in it, and 6 months later they've got mold.
Yeah, and that's no good for your health.
Not at all.
Or the materials themselves in the house. So
let's take a look at. I think that house.
That should be decorations.
So do you get are you constantly searching the internet for buys?
I not so much the internet. I love to go shopping for the stuff.
Oh, there you go.
I do a lot of internet.
Is West Michigan a good source for?
Yeah, you can get a lot of antiques here, very reasonably priced. And as you can see, we have antiques in this one, the old chairs that we painted in a little darker green.
Does everyone have the same refrigerator?
They're almost the same. Some of them are a little taller. Some of them are colored. When we get to go in the log cabin, that's a fancy red, and because that's the accent colors in there. So,
and a bucket for your
that's one of those unusual sinks. I told you we try and get. This is to emulate.
Really nice.
We're in the garden house, and this is to emulate a potting shed.
Okay, I see an induction cooktop, and this is a French press?
French press, yep.
Okay. So coffee, whenever you want it.
Organic teas and coffees in all our houses, and all the condiments for you, and a whole set of dishes if you want to cook a meal.
And the dishes match the cutting board. I don't know how you did that.
So.
And then you don't have to worry about anything being stuck, all the moisture getting stuck. So, so we've got a
hot water
10-gallon hot water.
I think that one's a 12, maybe a 12-gallon one.
Okay, so a tank.
Yeah. We don't have the on-demand.
Right.
And some of those aren't good for wintering either. So when you're in a cooler climate, we made that mistake in Portland. We did put one on one of the houses out there, and part way through the winter, we had to tear it apart and redo and put an electric one in because
they want those winterized.
Yeah, and the ground in the winter, the groundwater temperature when it comes up and hits the surface, it gets even colder.
And they can only raise it 40 degrees or something like that.
Yeah, they can.
Which is good for Dallas when it comes out of the ground at 100 degrees.
Yeah. So the water, it was too cold, and it was kind of lukewarm in the shower, so we had to tear that one apart and
another good thing to know.
Yeah, retrofit an electric one on.
Rheem?
It's whatever store I go to, Home Depot or Lowe's. I use Home Depot and Lowe's all the time. So whatever because really since COVID, supplies have been hard to get. For a while, you would go into Home Depot and Lowe's and not be able to find any electrical rough-in boxes and stuff.
Really?
In Portland, during COVID, we were building a couple more, and one day it took me 5 stores before I found the little circular blue boxes to go in the ceilings, and they went from 75 cents to $5.50. And people go, well, why are tiny houses increasing in price so much?
Right.
That's one of the exact reasons. A 2x4 was maybe $1.25 pre-COVID. When we started these houses, they were $10.50 a board. And so sheets of plywood, were maybe $15, $18 for a sheet of plywood, and they went up to $65, $75 dollars a sheet. And some things have come down, but they're not back to pre-COVID pricing at all.
So no skimping on the showers, full-size showers.
Yeah, they're full-size showers.
When it's too small,
now. It makes... And so we were pretty wore out when we came back from doing that physical work.
I'm just talking about it.
Yeah, so it was a big job last year. It's just been nonstop. We came from building these to going through all the zoning and planning and commissioner meetings, and then putting in the sod, the fencing, the brick pathway, and it was never ending.
Do they give you a deadline? Like you need to finish it within 6 months?
I have a deadline that passed, because actually that...
Welcome. And this house is called?
This house is called the Vineyard House. It's a wine theme, doing a nod to all the wineries here in Michigan.
It's got a big refrigerator in the back.
Yep, and that's one of the bigger ones. Yep, that's as big as they get here.
And this cooled down in about 15 minutes, so that's sweet. And is that a little electric fireplace for ambiance?
For a little bit of ambiance and romance. At least 3 to 4 of the houses have those.
A barn door for the...
Yeah. I should have pointed out...
Do they all have that?
They all have a sliding door in them. We were lucky enough to... Well, here's another trick for some of your listeners. When we got ready to build these tiny houses, we went to some of the lumber yards in town and said, do you have any old doors, old windows that you might not have used in another project or somebody misordered? And we got 2 of these beautiful doors. One's down in the lake house, and for a song that they practically gave them to us. They said, these have been sitting in our warehouse for 15 or 20 years. We just want to get rid of them.
Right.
So we got them for a song.
Great idea that is.
And but my son, I wish we could get in the farmhouse, but you'll see pictures of that online.
Yeah,
there's plenty
of pictures.
Is just
your gallery is wonderful.
Oh, thank you. My son is just very creative and just a master craftsman, and he builds a lot of our doors from scratch.
Oh my goodness!
I gave him a piece of tin, and I said, I want the bathroom door out of this tin. It's the corrugated metal,
right?
And he did a beautiful job on that door. And then in the tiki, we could go back and take some pictures of that.
I can get them off the internet.
Okay, cool. That door is just beautiful. I gave him the big black leaf that goes on that door and said, I want it opaque in the back, clear in the front, that faces out in the room so people can see that leaf. Here, go. And then I left town. I had to go learn how to build super adobe structures. And he sends me a picture while I was gone out of town and just did a beautiful job with that door. So, and again,
the whole kitchen pulls out
right
in
there.
One little walkway, one cart. Where do you get these carts?
I think I just ordered that, from Target or Amazon. I mean, of course, I got to have the certain colors, so I just look for them on different sites.
Space-saving thing, and it makes it so easy to get to.
And cleaning makes it easy to clean and stuff too. So
hammered copper, sink,
and then your hot water heaters are under those.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Perfect. Oh, you keep these so clean. What is this little guy right here?
That is a sensor. So when it's dark and you walk up this way, now you'll see some of the houses have this bump up,
right?
Because a plumber was doing man speak to me and told me that he couldn't get all the plumbing under the floor. Well, I already knew you could because I'd done it in Portland enough times.
But he couldn't do it.
And he told me, no, got to have this bump up here. And I said, people are going to trip over it. Sure enough, we built a couple of them with this here. And I said, no, you have to listen to us. You have to do it like we want with all the plumbing in the frame. And so the rest of them were built the right way. So that's so people don't trip on it in the night. Yeah. And then these are some of the, I wish we could get in the farmhouse. It has quite a story to it. Some of these old boxes are from a farm. You know where M45 is,
sure.
South of Grand Haven. There was a Centennial farm out there, and a friend of mine knew the owners. The dad had died, and the kids didn't want to keep the farm. They had a lot of property. There was another farm across the street.
Was it a blueberry farm?
You know, I don't even know because I was there in the winter time, so I don't remember. But there are a lot of outbuildings, and it was they liquidated the whole farm. And we got there as they were calling in scrappers, saying, take it away.
Wow.
And
perfect.
So I went, filled my whole van up one day. These are old rakes that were on site.
Yeah, perfect for a wine carrier.
We came home with a couple boxes of antique wine bottles.
Wow.
Cut the bottoms out of them and made lights out of them. So we have this cute AM and PM. You can have your coffee and then your PM, your wine
Everything
glasses.
is so clever.
Thanks. And these are wine barrel staves too.
Oh, right.
So, and even the sign on the front of the house is a wine barrel stave.
Nice.
And the towel racks in here we made out of wine barrel staves. Yeah. These are wine barrel staves too, here and here. And my spare toilet paper, people will call me once in a while and go, I'm out of toilet paper. No, they're in little boxes of some sort. And this is an old wine box that I hide the spare toilet paper in here. So, yeah. Good.
Nice.
And then there's a man in Hudsonville. Yeah. He's an old retired guy. And he builds these.
Tables and chairs.
Tables and chairs and lots of other
barrels.
stuff. And this is a little tip too. When you build, there's usually a big ugly gray box on your wall.
The electrical box.
Electrical breaker box. And we try to put all of them around the stairway like this. And then I have to then look for a picture that covers that box. So I hide them all. So.
And the nice little Velcro.
Yeah, the Velcro.
To hold them in.
So on the corners, so they don't get all kittywampus all the time.
Oh, that's what that's for.
Yeah. And then here's we make these shelf and coat racks. These are old brass doorknobs in a couple of the houses. The Victorian one, yeah, that has the crystal doorknobs on that one. So,
sweet.
Yeah. So a lot of custom things. I wish we could get into the farmhouse.
That's all right.
That was.
I'll look in your gallery.
Yeah.
Your website is really informative.
Thank you. The farmhouse, we brought a lot of the things from that farm out there in M45 and made the chandelier in there, made the handrails to go upstairs. The railing is old sickle size and just a whole bunch of different things.
Is the shed your workshop for all of
No, we rented a warehouse for a year, 13 months here in town. And it had a big enough door to pull a tiny house in and out. Actually, we pulled it in one end and drove them out the other end. And just like an assembly line. Yep. And we could put 3 to 4 houses in the warehouse at a time and build them. And, we built them mainly in the winter time. And then in the summer, we were building 2, but we were right on Muskegon Lake. The warehouse was there. We'd open both doors and had a nice breeze and had these big fans.
In the winter time.
Yeah.
A nice breeze.
Yeah.
And then icicles are hanging off your eyeballs.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a nice setup to build the tiny houses in.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, cool.
So a tiny house village, you had an assembly line, and then you did the outside work in the summertime.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, it's pretty good setup. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for showing us around your tiny house village. I'm really inspired.
Cool.
Yeah, I hope some other people look at this and go, we could maybe do that if people have a flair. but you have to have the flair, right?
Yeah. Well,
you just don't learn your flair for decorating.
I love decorating things, and one of my tips and tricks of decorating is I tell people really take some time picking out your lights and your faucets for the house. Your lights and faucets are like the jewelry on a woman. Once she has her outfit complete and her colors all coordinated, then your lights and your faucets are the jewelry that she would be putting on. And so those are the jewelry to the tiny house.
And
it
the
makes
floors
it special.
are the walls and the floors almost come out all the same.
Yep, yep. The walls and the
Tongue and
floors.
groove on the
Yep,
walls.
that's what we do. We like
and the
that
ceiling.
better.
And then the floors are dark.
Mhm.
I didn't
Yep,
notice if they
yep.
were all dark.
No, they're not all dark. Some
But
of
then
it,
the
like in the
theme,
yeah.
and then the
Yep.
decorations for the theme.
Yep, yep. So
Sweet,
yeah,
good to know.
yeah.
All
So,
right, well, thank you.
thanks for coming by
So
today,
happy
Kevin.
to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. And I will be. People call me often, and they want to build a tiny house, and it's like I don't know where to send them. But now that I've looked so extensively through your site, I'll definitely be recommending your
And
site
we'll
to
be
them.
happy to talk to them.
Yeah,
All they have to
yeah.
do is email us.
Yep.
And yeah,
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm inspired.
Thanks. Well, good. And enjoy your time at the 100th anniversary of the Coast Guard Festival.
Fireworks and
yeah,
boats.
and the musical fountain, of course. Yeah.
Musical fountain.